Hello fellow readers, welcome to Akiko's YouTube channel. On this episode, on this section of Book Talk, where I normally talk about books that I recently read, but don't worry, there's no spoiler, I will not do it to you. It is going to give you a head start whether or not that the book that I've just read going to be on your next reading list. So why I love this book so much, it's kind of like a satire for me, like a perfectly reality that we live in our current situation in this world, in this rapidly changing world with the advanced technology. And this book kind of like give me a reality check on what kind of world or situation or places that I'm living in at the moment. So I'm not going to into detail talking about every character on this book, but this book is about an artificial friend that you can literally buy from a shop, and you can make a friend with this. She or he can be your best friends, and then the artificial friends that they sold, it's kind of like the newest technology that you can find in this current world. But this book doesn't specify what timeline that the story had been written, but we can see when we read this book, it's definitely where we currently live, or probably years ahead. And the main character is Klara, the artificial friend, and her teenager who bought her from the shop, and she's Josie. Josie is a very special kid. In the time of this book, it's very normal that most of the kids in that era were lifted. In other words, they got genetic modification. So Josie, Klara's teenager, is one of the brilliant child, but she's so special, and not all of the children in this era got lifted or get genetic modification, but Josie, and she's definitely one of them. And she's very smart. She doesn't really go to school. See, this is the thing that I'm not really sure about this book. There's no mention of going to school. I think most of the kids kind of like having their own lecture at home, and then everything is just about technology. Okay, back to the story. Klara and Josie. And Josie was 14 years old when the first time she walked into the shop choosing her first artificial friend, and then she decided to get Klara. So the artificial friends, it's very much like the human being. So like I feel like this is more than just a robot, because Klara can feel, Klara can talk. She's very intelligent, and she has very outstanding observational skill. And we can say that the artificial friends in this book can be outnumber the humans' intelligentsia. That's why the kids that just born in that era got lifted or get genetic modifications. And throughout I read this book, I feel like at the beginning I read this book, I feel like this is impossible. How could that this happen? I feel like angry at Klara as an artificial friend. She became kind of like irrational in my thoughts. But when I read this, like in half to the end, I can see clearly in the different point of view, because this book is written on the first person, Klara. So like Klara narrated this story. So we see the world from Klara's point of view as an artificial friend. And so that's why, even though like Klara is technically a robot, but we can feel and we can tell how she thought, how she formulated assumption or an idea about her surroundings, about her environment. And this book is very heart-wrenching, because at the end it just kind of like, doesn't matter how hard you're trying to create an artificial intelligence that's shaped in human body, that very much look like human body, you will never be able to replace human being. So as I said, I'm not going to go into details, but this book is 5 out of 5 stars for me, because it just gives me kind of like a second thought about, doesn't matter how advanced the technology that we currently possess or we're trying to improve, never ever in millions times maybe that human can create another human being that exactly the same as human being, speaking about the biological aspect, about the genetics, about the chromosomes, about the cell and everything, you know. Like Klara, the artificial friends, like she is bought by Josie and Josie's mother in hope to kind of like become as human as possible, and Josie can kind of like imitating, not Josie, sorry, Klara can imitating Josie very much, the way Josie walks, the way Josie thinks, the way Josie talk as well. But at the end, Klara would never be able to replace Josie's heart. Like human heart is very complicated, and like I don't think that there's gonna be any technology can replicate human's heart. That's what Klara kind of like see. Like Klara's very much loves Josie. She wants to save Josie, and she's trying her best to make Josie's life kind of like going smooth and easy to reach her goals as well. But at the end, even Klara as an artificial friend told Josie's mother and Josie's dad that she will never be able to replace or to understand Josie's heart, even though she will be able to imitate it, Josie's life or Josie's routines, but she will never be able to be as human as Klara. That's what I like, and it's kind of like give us a reality check that, you know, like that doesn't matter how advanced the technology that created by human, we can never be able to replace the real human beings. Next one, that why I love this book is Kazuo Ishiguro is very brave to kind of like slap the reality of the very ambitious people that want to kind of like change everything or replace human being to a robot, that at the end of the day there's going to be lack of emotion. It's going to be different with human being. And also at the end, I love the end because it's not kind of like some miraculous thing that happened that going to make Klara alive as human. At the end of the day, Klara is just an artificial friend. She is a robot. At the end, she will, you know, just like any other artificial friend or any other artificial intelligence. So yeah, I would say that the book is, if you want to understand the world through different point of view, not from a human being point of view, we can say that you should read this book, because you then will understand how this world is navigated, or maybe we can have an idea what kind of world that we expected for our next generation, for our children in the future, you know. And but also it just gives us a reality check as well. If you're a true believer that there is kind of like a supreme power above human being, you should read this. And the son in this, I'd say it's kind of like implicated God, maybe, because this definitely not talking about Christianity or any other religion or Muslim or whatsoever, but the son is kind of like God for Klara, that she kind of like made a vow to the son, and she kind of like compromise and make a promises that she wants to achieve, because the sun is what makes Klara alive. So the artificial friends in this book is getting energy from solar energy, in other words sun. So because Klara think that she got energy from the sun, she prayed to the sun, she kind of like think that the sun is the supreme power, you know. So I would say that the sun in this book kind of like implicating that humans life can never be separated from supreme power, from another bigger power, you know. Even like an artificial friend understand that her life depend on something else, you know. So yeah, that's kind of like very, I would say it's kind of like a spiritual journey as well, kind of like doing a spiritual check on your spiritual being as well. So this book is everything that you need to understand in this current rapidly changing world. So yeah, I would recommend this book. It should be on your next reading list, right? Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. For like, I'm just rambling about this book probably, but hopefully you will have an insight about how this book is, and then you're going to go grab this one and then share your thought if you already read this book. And don't forget to like, subscribe and comment, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.